Hey, what's up everyone? Tato Khatebe here. Welcome back to the channel once again. I'm back with another video. If you are a new subscriber, I want to say thank you for joining the channel. This is the place where you'll find everything that has to do with jewelry design, jewelry business, and I give you a behind the scenes of the manufacture of jewelry. So if that's something that is interesting to you, you are at the right place, and thank you so much for subscribing. If you're somebody that's returning, I want to say thank you once again for the continued support. I always say this every week, and I think it's important that I give gratitude as much as I possibly can, because I do know that I wouldn't be able to do this thing without the support of people who are watching my channel. All right, so for today, I am going to be giving an honest opinion about Jewellex Africa. For those that do not know what Jewellex Africa is, it is basically a exhibition or an expo that houses all of the South African jewelry industry under one roof over 2 days. And it's basically a trade fair, let me rather call it that, where manufacturers in the jewelry industry and, diamond dealers and retail stores that sell jewelry, they come together under one roof, where there is an exchange of product information and just basically people coming together in the industry to network and to be able to, I can say, foster relationships and foster partnerships. And this is just an opportunity for the industry to meet and to network and to discuss all the things that are happening in the industry. The biggest thing about it is, because it is a trade fair, people who sign up to be part of Jewellex will then bring their products and they'll display them in booths, and other people from the industry who are there can then, basically walk around the whole fair, and that's where the networking can happen, and you can see what different people in the industry, whether it's manufacturers or whether it's people who are selling wholesale, are doing, and you can exchange contact details, and maybe that's how business can start to flow in the industry. So the reason why I'm talking about Jewellex today is, as you guys know, I work at the University of Johannesburg in the jewelry design department, and we were invited to be part of Jewellex Africa 2024. So this is not the first time we were at Jewellex. We've been at Jewellex before, and I think I wanted to do this video and give my honest opinion about Jewellex, because there are some things that have changed over the years with Jewellex, and some of the things that have changed haven't changed in the right direction. And I just wanted to give my opinion about that. And this is just me being honest, and I'm saying this in my capacity as Tato Khatebe. This is not the views of the jewelry department at UJ. These are the views of myself in particular. So the reason why I am saying that things have changed not in the best way is because I remember when I was a student, we would go to Jewellex with the department, and back then I think the industry was thriving a lot more than it is right now. So it happened in a much bigger venue than it did this year. It used to happen at the Sandton Convention Center, which is a very big venue, and there were a lot more people who are in the industry that were displaying what they were doing, displaying the products that they were selling and the services that they were offering. And as students, we were there and kind of walking around and seeing what the industry was all about. And from my experience this year, having been invited back, you could see that there weren't as many people as it used to be. And as a result, the venue had to obviously be downsized. So I do remember, even though they were at the Sandton Convention Center for some years, they had to downgrade a little bit, and they moved to Gallagher Estate in Midrand, which is a little bit of a smaller venue compared to Sandton Convention Center. But that's when I think they could see that the popularity wasn't quite as much as it used to be. So they had to downscale the size of the venue. And I think it was at Gallagher for a few years. And then this year, it moved to an even smaller venue, which is the Wanderers Club in Illovo in Johannesburg. And, you could see that just by how downscaled it is, there wasn't as much interest as there used to be. Even, walking around, I could see that the usual people that I used to see previously were not visible there anymore. They didn't take the opportunity to come and showcase their products or their services at Jewellex anymore. And I mean, there could be a number of reasons for that. I do know that obviously after COVID did hit, a lot of people's budget for marketing and just in general, money was not as freely accessible as it used to be, because COVID did really affect the industry in a big way. So that could be a contributing factor to that. But I don't know if it's the complete story to, say COVID is the reason why it has downscaled, because even before COVID, the numbers of people going to Jewellex had dwindled down quite significantly. And I'm not saying all of this because I'm trying to, badmouth or say anything bad to Jewellex. I'm just kind of making an observation, and maybe somebody who is watching this might find it useful and they might say, okay, let's see how we can restructure and do things differently, maybe go back to the way that things used to happen. One thing I will also say is, because maybe they haven't opened it up to the public, they aren't able to market as much as they can. They aren't able to market the industry as much as they possibly can. Because if you think about trade fairs or anything like that, there are many different kinds of trade fairs for different industries in the country. The same weekend as Jewellex was happening, there was the Joburg Art Fair, and from what I can see on social media and from what I am hearing from people who had attended, it was very packed, because Joburg Art Fair is open to the public and people are able to go there and see the different types of artists that are there, and they're able to make purchases on different types of art that they like. And it just meant, because you are opening it up, people are able to then go to the specific fair that you are at, and you're able to build a connection with your customers and make it makes business sense to be able to do that. Because we all know, with the industry that I'm in right now, the jewelry industry, it's a luxury industry. People do not need jewelry. It's as simple as that. It's similar with the Joburg Art Fair. People do not need art. You don't need it to survive like on a daily basis. It's one of those things that people appreciate what you are selling and they want to support you. And because of how it makes you feel, you will then spend your hard-earned money on that. And making something not available to the public, it just makes it a bit difficult to try and grow an industry. I know maybe the thinking is they want to use Jewellex as an opportunity for the industry to network, but I think we can network in other ways. I mean, the Jewelry Council has the AGMs that they set up, and the industry does come together there and things can be discussed. Maybe there could be a separate fair on a smaller scale where people in the industry can meet up and do some talks and discuss and do the networking in that way. And that could be a separate thing altogether, and it would mean the money that is spent might be less. But then at the same time, even though I'm saying all of this even though I'm saying maybe there can be a separate fair, it's probably not even necessary, because if you are already at Jewellex, people in the industry can walk to each other's booths and the networking can happen anyways. There's no reason why the networking cannot happen while having members of the public visible, So I think for me, that the biggest thing that I saw there is, because of how dwindled the numbers have become, there wasn't as much excitement and as much hype as what I remember Jewellex being from the time when I was a student, and also just the fanfare, and it seemed like an event being there. There was music playing way back then. It just seemed very exciting, and people were excited to be there. It just didn't, and that's the one thing that I'm seeing that's different from this year, unfortunately. So us taking up the opportunity this year was, we thought we were contacted by the Jewelry Council, who does organize Jewellex, the South African Jewelry Council. They're the organizers of Jewellex. So they contacted us and said, we would like to offer you a space to come and display your work. And they were not charging us. So I want to also make that clear, that we were not charged for our booth. And they just, I think they were reaching out to us because they wanted to make sure that at least we also have an opportunity to showcase again, because it has been some time since we had showcased. So I took up the opportunity, and I said I spoke to the HOD, and presented the opportunity to her, and she was happy for us to go and to, maybe make another try at Jewellex. And I will say this, now I'm getting to the good part. The experience was nice because we took senior students in the department. They were the ones that were manning the stand. And they were the ones that were, representing the department over the 2 days. And the reason why we decided to take them is because they are going to be graduating soon. And this is an opportunity for them to see what the industry is all about and see the different aspects of the industry. And it could be an opportunity for them to land a job. So that was the brief that I had given them, that guys, as much as you are here to quote unquote work, use the opportunity to walk around and see what is happening in the industry. I phrased it exactly like that. I said, this is an opportunity to see the industry under one roof, and you as an individual know what you want for your future in the industry. So take your time to walk around and make connections. There could be opportunities for you to land a job or to even strike a deal with some wholesalers that sell tools, and hopefully if they're running specials, you are able to buy some tools or some materials at a discounted rate. Also making those networking opportunities to be able to put your name and your face out there, so that should something come up, at least you might be top of mind for them to be able to approach you for any of those opportunities that might be presenting themselves. So the students as well, speaking to them when I was there, they enjoyed themselves. They loved it. And I think I definitely see why they loved it, because it was the first time that they were all there at Jewellex. So they do not have the point of reference that I do from when I was a student, but that point of reference is, it's a different time. I understand that things have changed, things can't stay the same all the time, but it doesn't mean that the experience of what the fair is all about isn't valuable. So they experienced it in their way. They said they walked around and they were able to see the different parts of the industry, and some of them had told me that they even have some job offers from people that were there, which is a good thing, which is exactly what I wanted to see happening. So I'm glad that we were there this year, and I'm glad that the students were able to get something valuable out of this, especially because we don't want to have graduates that are just sitting at home at the end of their studies. You spend 3 or 4 years, maybe even 5 years studying, and then at the end of your studies, you go home and that's the end of that. We do not want that to be the case. So I'm glad for that reason. The students did really get something out of it. And even us as a department, we are very thankful and glad that the Jewelry Council did reach out to us, and we were happy to take up the opportunity for us to be able to present our department at the Jewellex Expo. And I'm hoping that in the future things can slightly change a little bit. Maybe we look at, I think the biggest thing, inviting the public into Jewellex so that they are also a part of it. That'll make it a lot more lively and a lot more interactive, and it'll also open people's eyes in South Africa about what is actually happening in the South African jewelry industry. My main thing is, because I'm invested in such a big way in the South African jewelry industry, I really want to see it thriving. I really want to see things changing, and people viewing jewelry the way that we do. The craftsmanship of jewelry is unparalleled. To be able to make something so small with as much detail as a lot of us go into, and for people to appreciate that and to see that in action, it'll just help the industry to grow, and it'll help to also in a big way validate some of the prices that people are charging for their jewelry. The more education people have about a specific thing, the more they'll appreciate it, and the more they won't ask many questions about, why is this thing being sold at such a high price? I do not understand what the intrinsic value is in this thing. And places like Jewellex give that education, and places like universities where I'm from give that education. So I'm really glad for that opportunity that we were given, but I also at the same time hope things can maybe go back to the way that they used to be, where we are engaging in Jewellex on a much grander scale and, getting that fanfare back. That'll make the experience a lot better. And as I said, to close off this video, these views that I've just said are views of my own in my personal capacity as Thato Khatebe. These are not the views of the University of Johannesburg. These are not the views of anybody else other than me. And I hope if this video does get out to somebody from the council, they'll see it as, constructive criticism. And I appreciate the work that they do for us in the industry. And I'm hoping that with the feedback that I'm giving, they'll maybe take this feedback and make some changes. So yes, those are just my views on how we can hopefully see the improvement of Jewellex Africa moving forward in 2025 and beyond. And as I said, I hope that this video isn't taken in a negative light, but rather seen as a positive and as a way to try and grow the industry. And I hope if they do take it in that way, there will be some changes that happen. I will leave a link down below to the Jewellex Africa website, and I encourage you to just click that link down below and have a look at what Jewellex is all about. Hopefully it will be open to the public in the future, so that even you who is watching this right now, who isn't a part of the jewelry industry, gets a chance to experience Jewellex the way that we are experiencing it. So that'll be today's video. We will chat again very, very soon. Have a great rest of your week. Peace.